All right, it says I'm live, man. It says I'm live. Sharon, how you doing, Sharon? Holly, Bada, Sue, glad everybody made it. Because I am live. Oh wait, you know what? I got to change my avatar. 1 second. One quick second. There we go. Let's get Bridge Guy up there. Saying 0 people here. Sterling Gypsy, right on, man. Sterling Gypsy. You know what? This show is dedicated to you. You. And I apologize. I checked the day before yesterday and I seen it. I did not send you a thank you, a deeply heartfelt thank you. And it goes out to you right now. Show dedicated to you. Let me see. Cindy, Irish guy. Wow, man. Got people coming in. All right. Peaches, how you doing? Well, you know what I intend to do tonight, I hope. Barbara Spicer's here. All right, everybody, look at this. Holy cow, man. Like, all the greats made it. Yeah. So anyway, what I wanted to do tonight was recant the last 3.5 years. I can't do it all. Of course, I'm not really, and I have before started at the beginning and worked forward up to Ronald Logan. But what I kind of want to do is get to the heart of the matter, to get to the beef. Because the people that are at my channel, that watch my channel, know where I'm at, know what I think or should. I mean, I can't say they know because oddly enough, man, some of them still have questions that I've answered 1,000,000 times. I cannot explain that. However, I would like to kind of get to the heart of the matter, man, and kind of more deeply discuss a lot of the questions I get. And when it comes to questions, I get voluminous amounts of questions. So I would like to cover some of them. And then that way everybody's in I know where he stands on that. I will begin like so. Now, and this involves Thomas Bruce, believe that or not, but it is true. When Thomas Bruce was arrested, and I gave my account on why I felt that St. Louis had called Carroll County. Now, one, we know this, that when he was arrested, and it was already told to the investigators that he was dressed in a flat cap, a blue jacket, he had a handgun. And when they arrested him, they said, okay, this guy was dressed like Bridge Guy. You're a suspect in the Delphi murders when committing first-degree murder and sexual assault against the 3 women that were in this store with a total of 18 felony counts. He looks like your sketch. He as well had never broken a law before. Had broken a law, never been caught. Want to make that point. So he had no DNA or fingerprints in the legal database to be matched to. Now let's retract that back to Delphi. We have a guy, okay? Now we know what the guy looks like because we've seen the photos of him for the first 2 years and 2 months. Then they released the video, which looked no better than the pictures. You know, it was still indeterminable about his face. You could see a little piece here, a little there. But a lot of contrast between the sunlight and shadow that kind of created imagery, such like the bar going down his leg. It ain't there. It's not a bar on his leg. You may believe that it is a bar on the inside of his jeans, but then again, your IQ may lean a little to the left. You know, it's the pixelation difference that creates a size image, making it look like something that is there that is not. In fact, I'll go to the point like this. The brown thing on the lower part of his jacket on his right-hand side, in one place looks like a fanny pack. In another place, it looks like a pressed shirt. It looks very flat. One part looks like a hat. In another part, it looks like hair. You know, these things are kind of really indeterminable. And again, when this was taken, and I am quoting law enforcement, that it was kind of muffled. You know, and it was not explained as to why it was muffled or at a distance, but we, was told that it was. Now, I believe that it was probably in all likelihood on Libby at the time, probably in a pocket, a top, something along that line, kind of hidden so that the guy didn't know that his voice and image had been captured. So the voice was distant and muffled. Now, we got Thomas Bruce's voice at the pullover. However, that was from a dash cam. It was distant, and here was the cop. He was standing to the other side of the cop. So we didn't really get like a good voice comparison, but I will say this, it's the same voice. When I hear it and I hear the other voice, I say, I hear a connection. Other people say, nope, doesn't sound anything like him. Nothing at all. You're wasting your time. I'm not going to talk about that, dude. Do I call him that dude, or do I call him like multiple accounts? I don't know. Whatever you want to call that dude, call him that. He'll like it. He'll tell his mom about it. Yeah, I got mentioned on the show, Ma. Look what I'm doing. Dang, man. Okay, Sharon Incognito, Diamond, right on, man. Margaret Lee, man, right on. Right on, man. Everybody's here. So, and again, let me go back to this. And now, when they had called Carroll County about that, and they said this guy had never broken the law before, we think it could be your suspect. So we are sending, and this is law. This is how this really, really works, as opposed to maybe CSI or NCIS or Law was another big show that people watched. I'm certain that they sent the guy's mugshot along with other photographs from differing sides of him to Carroll County, because there were people that saw the suspect there that day. People that could look at those pictures and say, yes, that is the man I seen there that day. Local law enforcement in Carroll County would have went to those people and said, does any of these pictures here look familiar as possibly the person you saw that day? I don't think that they would just hand him the picture and say, is this the guy? I think it would be more in like lineup format. If you could look through there and if you see a guy that resembles the guy, you know, it's kind of how they operate that. So anyway, if they did that and they said, yes, this right here is the guy that I saw that day, they would say, okay, well, we got two people who are saying that the person that you are describing to us, St. Louis, looks to be like the guy they saw. Now, what we're going to do, being law enforcement, since we can't go and talk to him while he's in there on first-degree murder, we're going to run his DNA against the DNA that a FBI had just went and got from him against our suspect DNA to see if there's a match. Now, in an interview that I wish that I had like already pre-recorded and did not, I had every intention to, but Carroll County Sheriff Lesenby had said in an interview that they sent their suspect DNA off to Quantico headquarters prior to Christmas of 2018. That is 1 month after the time of his arrest. Now, to me, that sounds like they had already got the news. They knew who it was. They had the all the information from St. Louis, plus then they got a DNA match. But I think it goes back to a fingerprint. I think that is what kicked it off for St. Louis. That's what instantly made the connection to Delphi. They wasn't sitting in St. Louis knowing about the Delphi murders. You see where I'm at? It ain't like it's on every cop's tongue in America, you know, but they're down there dealing with their own issues every day, which far outweigh what Delphi's got to deal with. Delphi's only had 2 double murders ever. First one was solved within a couple of days. This one, over 3 years, now pushing 3.5 years. So anyway, I said after the first year press conference, when I did the small interview with Kim Riley, and he said, well, it's like the suspect had never committed a crime before. Are you saying that because there's not a DNA match? Well, I can't talk on that. I can't speak on that. And maybe he has committed a crime, but we can find no traces of it. That right there, that comment, if you know anything about this, you would know that he was not talking about DNA, not DNA at all. They had something where they could say this man had never committed a crime before. What is it that you would have to have in order to say this person has never committed a crime before? A fingerprint. You would have to have a fingerprint of that suspect that did not match any within the legal database. That's how. So after the first year press conference, that's what I said. I said, now I do believe that aside of DNA, they as well have fingerprints. Was called out on that automatically. You're an idiot, said the people left-leaning IQs. You're a moron. I said, man, why are you wasting your time? I mean, ain't you got places to be? I mean, hello. Huh? But that's me. That's just how I think. So I felt at that time that they did have fingerprints. Now, and that those fingerprints matched in St. Louis to the unknown fingerprint that was in the legal database awaiting a match from Delphi. They seen that and they said, hey, man, our guy kind of matches his fingerprint here. Maybe we should look into this and see what we can get to Carroll County as this goes. So they look into the crime. They look at the aspects of the crime and say, hey, believe it or not, man, we think we got your guy here, Carroll County. And they knew. They knew directly thereafter that, yep, this is our guy, man. We got the DNA match. This is the dude. This is the suspect that we've been waiting for. Oh, shit. Man, I'm sorry. I did something yesterday and really messed my back up in a bad way. Bad way. Real bad. I mean, this is rolling up a hose, man. I turned wrong and, man, my muscle seized up. And, God, it has not been right since. Just don't make any subtle moves to the left and I'm all right. So, I feel that once that they knew, once that those pieces were in a line where they said, okay, we got the guy down there. We are pretty sure that this is our guy. The FBI, when they sent theirs in, they probably seen the connection to other cases in Michigan. Now, I can't say Iowa, but I can say the two in Michigan, minimally two in Michigan. And I'm pretty sure that they were duly aware of the Evansdale murders and they were informed by the FBI that it was in all likelihood the same suspect that had committed both Evansdale and Delphi. Because what they had sent with the suspect DNA prior to that, other serial murders. So they knew what it was that they was looking at. They knew that the suspect was down there in the St. Louis jail. They knew they couldn't go talk to him until that case was over. People say, dude, listen to me, Michael J. Katt, and listen up well. If they had a DNA match, they'd tell us. No, they would not, because they can't go and talk to him, and their investigation is not over until they do. Because if they filed charges right now, today, we're filing charges, Thomas Jerome Bruce, his public defender would say, and we declare that we want a fast and speedy trial. Well, wait a minute. We can't get you here in that amount of time. Thomas J. Bruce wins. Is that what everybody wants? Do you want the guy to, walk away from it without doing? Okay. Well, then you and I are on the same page. We are in an understanding as to why law enforcement did that. You see? Because they can't come out and say, we know who it is, but we can't tell you. Why can't you tell us? Well, what his family say? What he say? Well, what are you going to do? I mean, how are you going to approach this? How do you know it's him? The only thing they can answer on is their investigation. Now, last night, I rewatched for the 80th time the Delphi briefing. And what Doug Carter had said kind of stuck out to me this time through. It kind of really stuck out. He said to the suspect, you never thought that we would change our investigative direction, but we have. Okay, now what have I said that briefing was about? It was about ending the investigation because the suspect, and so knowing that he was already caught, knew that they knew that he was caught. And the suspect knows as well, if he's seen the briefing, and I don't think that he did, that, yeah, they knew who it was. And yeah, they were shutting up about it because they couldn't go talk to him until that case was over. When it is, they'll be down to talk to him, as stated by Trooper Kim Riley, because he said, well, if you're looking for a reason why we can't get down there right now, you hit it. There it is. It's because he's in jail on that. He goes, let them deal with him because that's what needs dealt with. And I said, yeah, I agree. I agree, because I do agree with that. What he did down there was a shameful act. I mean, you walk in and you do that to 3 women. I mean, like, by what? Why? Why would anybody do that? You know, that's not something that normal people do. That's something that a crazed man, you know, a sadist would do, a serial murderer. That's the kind of thing that was done down there. And like immediately they said to investigators, this does not appear like the first time that he has done a crime like this. They're running his DNA through CODIS now. No matches, but they're still waiting. And I'm like, that was the last I heard of it. Last I heard of anything about him concerning anything other than the Catholic supply stores, that was the last I heard. Because the FBI said, and they said, okay, it's done, man. We ain't saying no more. So, when I started looking into Thomas Bruce, I mean, after I had read concerning that, now I made no, or there was no thought at that time about fingerprints immediately. But I thought, well, this does bring up a good person of interest to go look into. So I went and I pulled up his mugshot. Now, I'm certain most people on my channel have seen the mugshot of Thomas Jerome Bruce. His mugshot looks like this first sketch. It does. He looks like that sketch, man. There ain't no getting around it. So I thought, okay, hey, that man, I mean, that's a step in the right direction. So I started digging into the guy's past. Find out, was he available on February 13th to be in Delphi? I mean, was he working? Did he have a job? Does he have any kind of alibi? Was he at work? You know, so I went looking for that. Well, no. And as it went, he filed bankruptcy in January, the month prior to February. January 11th of 2017, he filed bankruptcy. Then he resigned from his job as an insurance agent by not showing up. And to me, and I mean, I'm talking now, not at that minute, but to me now, I realized that, okay, this guy was a serial killer. He's a sadist. He enjoys the reaction that he gets out of it, you know, off the victims. That's his motive, in a way. That's part of the motive for committing the crime. So I started looking. He was unemployed 1 month later. Now, when I started checking his social media accounts, I went to Twitter. His Twitter ended on, God, I want to say it was like November 16th of 2016. And then came back on again in April of 2017. Let's see, November, December, January, February, March. 5 months. 5 months that he was without service to his phone. That is my thoughts right there. 5 months that he was out of cash long enough that he did not use a service for his phone. But he was out of work. And this is when it started piecing together in my head. He was out of work through that time. Now, I thought, well, why would he be up here? You know, what would, you know, let's say I am looking at Bridge Guy here. Let's say this is him. Why would he be up to Delphi, Indiana on that day? You know, I had no reason to make it that. I made a video talking about that. Like, what would bring him to Delphi? I mean, let's just say he is. Why would he be here? Well, I looked up his family, found out where they lived, and I went to Google, and I went to his address at the time of, which was on Black Link Road in St. Louis. Now, he moved to Imperial, but that was, I think, less than a year. That was like in late 2017, early 2018, like right in there. But at the time of Delphi, he was still living on Black Link Drive, is my thought. I know he was in St. Louis. So I went to Google and I put in his address and then directions to. Now, when you do that, it's going to give you directions. It'll also have a hop over on how much it costs to fly there. Then you got the directions that go to that spot. Now, when I looked up his family, I found that one of the main ways, the one that went more northwardly, was the Hoosier Heartland Express, which uses Highway 25, going right by Delphi, which has the turnoff to Monon High Bridge Trail. He had passed by there many times, I believe, many times, over many years from traveling from St. Louis to his family's house. He knew that trail. He knew it was small town. He knew it was hiked, but not heavily. He knew that if he was on that trail and anybody seen him, they wouldn't know who he was. They wouldn't know him by face or name. They wouldn't know anything about him. So he went there purposely on the reverse date of Evansdale, which is 7/13/12. Then you got 2/13/17. Reverse date to another small trail, about same size city, and waited. He waited for opportunity, which is part of his MO. He don't go out and stalk people and then go kill them. Exactly. He waits for opportunity when nobody else is around. That way that he can get them and take them elsewhere. That's how the guy's mind operates. He isn't a Ted Bundy or BTK that goes out, sees people and says, hey, I'm going to fix it so I can go in and do that to him. It's more of if somebody comes along and there's nobody else around and he's already in that mental state with alcohol, he will hop on that. Now, that is part of his MO because most all these people, and I don't think that he really knew a single one of them, honestly, personally. I think all of them just happened to be in a spot where, things could be done, things could be said. It's just part of like how his MO operates. Why do I think he chose the longer route? Hang on, let me pull that up. Because you know what? People have asked that in the past. It is longer. You're right. It's not that much longer. But let's really look at it. This is a guy who liked to be alone, who liked to drive. He liked to drive fast. He liked to go to small trails. The guy spent a lot of his time driving. And I don't think that an added, 16 minutes? And length of drive time would have been that much on him. I don't think he would have thought of anything of 15 minutes. And aside of that, why would he go that way? Because this route goes through the country. I think that the guy was always looking for opportunity. I mean, because it was a preset in his mind. I mean, he was seeking opportunity. I mean, if I go back to Ann Pates, man, that happened at like 2 a.m. And I say 2 a.m. because that's what time the bars close, like 2 a.m. If he was at the bar in Montrose, which at that time was a single bar in Montrose, and he was going back to Flint, Michigan, where he lived at the time, but was from Montrose, then he would have taken Highway 58 headed east to go to Flint. Her cars broke down, and she disappears. Was found with her neck sliced open, man. Next morning at 7 o'clock on Farland Road, like 12 miles away from where her car was. He left the bar. He had that brain set up here. She was alone by her car in 1999. Hey, man, looks like you need help. Could I give you a lift into town? I mean, I got to go to Flint. I can just turn around and take you 2 miles into Montrose. How about it? Opportunity. That's how he operates. And that's why I believe that he did that. I think that he had taken 15 more minutes. Big deal. Hell, it's a 4.5 hour drive. I don't think that 15 minutes really made a crap to him. That's me. I think different than others. Plus, I also believe Monon High Bridge was a frequent stop of his, man. I do. I think that when he was going to family's house, he probably made it kind of a habit to stop there. He may have considered prior to like an area to come back to one day, as this would be a safe trail. I've been out here for a long while, haven't seen anybody. You see where I'm at? But people do come through. Here comes people. So if I go there and I wait on a day that people would be hiking, I know that there will be hikers, but there won't be large groups just passing through, going by each other, anything like that. If somebody comes down to here, I can get them. If somebody comes down to here that's, I would want as a victim, I can lead them across over to private property. Over there, I can commit the crime and leave. And nobody will know who I was. Nobody knows my face or my name. Nobody will know that. So I can go there and do that on the reverse date of Evansdale. And again, I mean, that really ties in. Now, people talk about his beard or his hair. His hair is gray. Okay, well, look, let me tell you something, man. The guy had a hat on. He had a flat cap on. The only thing you was going to see of his hair was right here on the sides, right here. This was it. Now, if I go pull up his more recent pictures, you can tell the sides of his hair are darker. He didn't need much hair for you to see that it was kind of reddish brown. He had reddish brown hair. There it is. Now gray. Now, the other day I was looking at that picture, the newest picture with Miss Cav. And I said, well, the sun's on his face there. It wasn't on the other three people. You know, their faces weren't hit. It was like shadowed by a wall that was to their front. But TB's face was hit by sun. I said, but it looks like right there, being in 2015, that his goatee was pretty much gray. And it did make me question because he had graduated, and I think that was in 2014. The Jewish community, man, I forget what the name of it is. I could go look up the photo. But there his facial hair was much more darker. His hair was a lot darker. And it made me wonder, well, did he color his facial hair? You know what? Give me a second because I got an idea. I do. Give me just one split second because I'm going to go pull this up right now. I have in my possession here all right, let me pull this up for you guys. Now, this is the most recent picture of Thomas Bruce. Man, I hope everybody can see it. All right. Let me blow this up a little bit. Now, as you can see, the sides of his hair here are darker than the top, although you can still see some dark up here. But this right here, if you go back 3 years ago, especially right down here over his ears, you can kind of see some hair there. Now, his facial hair looks extremely gray. But we really, I mean, I think that he may have had a mustache and goatee, of course. I mean, the first sketch indicates that. But I can't really explain the facial hair because right there, he wasn't dyeing it white. I can tell you that. Man, he looks like an old geese there, though. He really does. He does not look happy, thank God. Winning. So, where's Katt? Sharon? It's me, man. It's me, Sharon. Don't you remember who I am? Sharon? Don't I? Yeah. Man, me and Sharon, we used to be close. Today, she don't even know who I am. So anyways, and then people say, well, yeah, but that guy had hair and his head was shaved. Well, let me take you back to what law enforcement said right after the Delphi murders. The suspect will try to change his appearance. Now, he had kept his head pretty much shaved. I never really find any pictures where he had long hair. But there are pictures, and I don't know why it is. It's always when he's got a hat on where his hair is longer. I don't get that. But, you know, when he's got a hat on, I mean, you know, he likes his hair out. So kind of like me. Man, even my goatee's getting my carried away, man. You're going to come a day, I'm just going to shave it off, man. I'm just going to shave it all off, man. Ain't going to happen any decade soon. But it might. You never know. So, they got DNA of the Delphi suspect. Check. They got fingerprints. Check. They got 2 people that seen him. Now, if Thomas Bruce was cleared, okay, if Carroll County could say, okay, there was a guy down there, he's a person of interest, people may remember the name, it's still listed on Wikipedia as a person of interest, his DNA, fingerprint, you know, all that, it doesn't match. Even the people that have seen him said, not the same guy. So we aren't worried about him anymore. Don't worry about him. He's covered, man. He's cleared. We're not worried about him. Thank you. They would have done that. They would have done that if he was cleared. People say, well, if they had DNA, they'd tell us. Bullshit. They would not tell us, because then everybody would inundate them with written questions. Oh, hang on. The Doman. Thank you, AJ. You rock, man. Oh, really? You know what, man? I sent you my number, dude. Check your prior message, man. Get my number and call me tonight, or actually tomorrow. I got to go kick Ryan's ass and chest after I'm done here. But thank you very much for the donation, and give me a call, man. I wanted to talk to you. Hey, Michelle Felon, man. Wow. Oh, fuck yeah. Hey, Michelle Felon, man. Look at that. Man, with my mugshot. That's cool as crap, man. Man, it's a small world we live in. Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah, and you know, I did for the sake of being me. I wanted to discuss Oregon, the great state of Oregon. Let me tell you about Oregon. I love Oregon. But when I was in Oregon, do you know that I was attacked in my grandfather's house by a fat man with no hands that had hooks on the end? They came in threatening me. I said, dude, man, what is wrong with you? I said, I'm getting stuff from my grandpa's house. He told me to. And the dude attacked me, man. I took him down in a headlock, man. They got me for attempted murder. I told the attorney, like, you tell them to go. He's all like, whoa, dude, don't freak out. I said, attempted murder? Yeah, don't freak out. I said, I will not plead guilty to that. Not ever. That is total bullshit, dude. Well, I came back. You know, well, here's a plea agreement. You don't have to admit, you don't have to plead guilty. Simple assault. When will I get out? As soon as you sign it and you go before him, you don't have to say you're guilty. Sounds good. So I went there, didn't have to say I was guilty. Didn't. Kind of an Alfred play, kind of cool. But when I got out, I was like, okay, and fuck you bitches, later. And I hit the road. And now you know. Self-defense. From a giant retard, man. This guy had mental problems. You know how I lost these hands? Put him on a train track when he was 12. Swear to God. Swear to God. Shit you find out. So, yeah. Now you guys know about Oregon. Woo. Now, I was talking about the Katt. There you go. God, man, it's just so fast. All I got to do is click a button. I love that, man. So anyway, back to where I was at. Mods. 2 mods, man. Man, Why am I the one making the boot? Why? Jeez. Making it hard on me, man. Okay. So anyway, let me get back to where I was. When I found the route, I said, not only do I have a route, I also have a piece of the puzzle for Evansdale, because it is a known statistic that people that do commit murders like this, usually this is a time of weakness in their life, usually financial issues, usually times when they feel without power in their life. That's why they go and commit these crimes, as to feel powerful. So they advised in the profile for the Evansdale suspect that the person may have recently lost a job, maybe having financial issues in their life, things along this line, as one of the main reasons that they may have went and perpetrated that act. Now, hang on, because okay, I didn't have to move forward enough, man. That's painful. So I thought, okay, everything's kind of adding up. I can say, yeah, he certainly passed her many times. He knew of the trail. And in looking back, I got to wonder, and this is my question pretty much to him. Was he traveling to someone's house when Evansdale occurred? Or, since he was unemployed, did he do the same as what he did at Mona and High Bridge Trail? Small town, small trail, height, not heavily, not big security, not really watched. Did he go there to commit that crime? Or did he stop there in passing through, like he could have done if he was going to his family's house at Delphi? I think that he went to Delphi purposely that day to commit an action, as he did. But on Evansdale, it's in the air, because I don't know that he did. Although I can say Friday the 13th being a day of bad luck, that goes back to the Knights Templar, which became the Masons, which I think that he was a part of the Masons, maybe up to a Scottish Rite member, with all of his personal emails beginning with Scotsman. Now, that could mean nationality because he is Scottish, or it could mean Scottish Rite, maybe. Hard to say. But I do think that that kind of adds in a little bit, you know, as to how that might play. Now, let's look at the traffic stop. In October of 2018, he was pulled over. Now, they say pulled over, but I don't think that he was pulled over, because I think that what really happened was he was drinking. He was acting insane. People called in saying a man was driving erratically and acting insane on the highway. So when they got to him, there was a man that was behind him. Thomas Jerome Bruce slams these brakes on to get this guy to hit him in the butt of his car, you know. So that's when the cop showed up after these calls. Now, the cop could clearly see that Thomas Bruce is intoxicated on alcohol. You can hear it in his speech. You can see it in his actions. This guy's drunk. Now, he's claiming he only had one beer. Shit. There's way more than one beer. And he is clearly intoxicated. And he is causing issues, an accident that was purposely created for it to happen with this guy to hit him. And the cop knows that. Now, why would the cop take someone who is DUI, driving under the influence, has caused an accident? People are calling saying he's acting insane, driving erratic. Why would you let that guy go? Why would a state trooper let a person like that go? I can only think of one reason. Just one. Only one that comes to my mind. Cop was a Mason. Most are. Most cops are Masons. He was a Mason. He says, hey, look, I'm a higher degree Mason than you, man. Come on. Let me go. All right. Have a good day, Mr. Bruce. Thank you, sir. You're the best. Jolly. I'm out here. Because had he got arrested, he would have been in Delphi already. He would have been facing court. That didn't happen. No Catholic supply store happened. But he knew. I mean, and if again, I feel this. Thomas Jerome Bruce went into that Catholic supply store that day. And he knew that if he was to go in and do what he wanted to do, that he would be found out. He had just left Hot Shots, just left a business card with the waitress. He had been drinking. They was going to put out a description of the guy. And he knew that, hey, if I go in and do this, man, if I go out and get that pistol and come back and do this, they're going to know, they're going to find out who I am. They will. And I think that that's what he was prepared for. He knew that within a day, maybe hours, they'd come knocking, man. They'd be at his door. He had a handgun. Cop suicide. That's what I believe. Why would he do that? CC Moore. Once it broke in July of 2018 that the same technology was being used by Delphi investigators as what got John D. Miller in Fort Wayne for the 1988 rape and murder of 8-year-old April Tinsley, by means of familial DNA as processed by CC Moore and the DNA detectives, it took her 2 months from the time she began to the time that they arrested the guy by getting his DNA and checking it back against the DNA they already had. That's going to take every bit of about 2 weeks to get that part done. But first, you already got to have the name to go get that. And she broke that down pretty much within a month and a half. It's just one of these two guys right here. So they get the guy's DNA. They check it back against the suspect's DNA, and they said, we got a match. They go up, knocking on his door. You know why we're here? April Tinsley? That's right. Come with us. And I think that that is exactly what set off all this by Thomas Bruce. A man never caught committing a crime. A man never arrested. A man without DNA or fingerprints in any legal database. He felt free. He felt like they don't know who I am. They'll never know, because those, familial DNA, CC Moore, that had never even crossed his ear before. He'd never heard about it until after the Delphi crime. After the Delphi crime, 1 year later, one and so many months later, they come out with this new way to trace it down to a person by their DNA. Now he's like, crap. Man, I got like 2 months. They're using CC Moore. They're going to know exactly who I am, and they'll be knocking any day. So what does he do? Well, 2 months after, July, August, September, he goes out in St. Louis and commits a sexual assault on a 77-year-old lady. The next month, he gets pulled over, drunk, acting insane, just intoxicated, yelling at the cop. Just go home. Just go on home, man. Just go do what you do, dude. The month after, in November 19th, he walked into a Catholic supply store in knowing he was going to be caught, hoping for cop suicide. I could go over this all night and day, but I choose not to. I don't want to just sit here and talk solely on that. But I want to make the connections of why I feel that Thomas Bruce was there. People say, well, you can't place him in Delphi. Yes, I can. I got video and his audio. It's him. Same stature. It's him. Not blue eyes, him. Looks like the sketch, was dressed like him. Copycat. Yeah. You know what? Let me think of how many copycat people I know how many have I heard of in my lifetime? They always say that on TV. It's like a copycat murder. But honestly, the real reality is, I don't know of any copycat murders. Name me one. Name me one off the top of your head. So-and-so went out and did it just to be like his favorite serial killer and copycatted that. No, I don't think it happens like that. I think that the last thing it was a copycat. I think it was just an outright, you're hit, man. And you know you're hit. We know you're hit. And now he waits. Now he's got to wait. There's nothing else he can do. Carroll County's got to wait. State of Indiana's got to wait. The FBI's got to wait. But they got the fingerprints, they got the DNA, and they got their case all wound together. because when his case is done, then they can end the investigation and go down and talk to him about it. Get the details. Try to coerce a confession. That's what law enforcement does. But saying, yeah, we have a guy and we think that he's our suspect, bam, now the cops will never hear the end of it, because the only thing that they can answer with is their investigation. That was the reason for the briefing. The whole reason for the briefing. Because if anybody called in on that new sketch, oh, that looks a lot like Robbie Woodoo down the street, man. Maybe you need to go look into him. We will. We're going to look into Rodney Doolittle or whatever. We'll be over there talking to him about it. They won't. Because, and I quote again, Doug Carter, you never thought that we would take on a new investigative direction, but we have. Let me ask you something. YouTube? Look, man, I don't turn to many people. I don't. Normally, I feel like I'm the brains in the operation. But not when I'm talking to you. Not when I'm talking to you. You guys got it together, man. You do. So I'm going to ask you a question. Thomas Jerome Bruce, if he's the suspect and he's down there and he did it, and the cops have already led on with a new word, the video, a new sketch, and they say to the suspect, you never thought that we would take on a new investigative direction. Wait a minute. Why are you saying that to the suspect? Do you think that he knows the direction your investigation's at now? I mean, do you understand what I'm at? Why would they say that to the suspect? Why would they tell the suspect at a briefing, you never thought that we would take on a new investigative direction? I'm certain the guy has no clue what your investigative direction was currently. It makes no sense to say that. Zero. And again, I mean, I fought back because I was upset, man. I went back and watched my Delphi briefing live show. It was done right after the briefing. I was hot because I already knew who it was. I knew then who it was fully. But I knew before the briefing that they wasn't going to announce a suspect because I knew they couldn't go down and talk to the guy. Now, you see, that was in April, so it was November, December, January, February, March. It was 5 months, actually 4.5 months after I knew who it was, that they had the Delphi briefing. I knew they wasn't going to be announcing the suspect. Knew they wasn't going to be filing charges. I mean, I knew that wasn't possible. It couldn't happen at that time. So I thought, well, what's this all about, man? I mean, you can't ask questions. I ain't going. I'm going to go down to my friend's house and watch it so I can talk about it afterwards because I want to know, what are they doing here? What does this mean? So I watched it and I was kind of fuming. I thought, this is bullshit, man. You know full well this guy ain't 18 to 40. You know better than I do that he isn't from Delphi, Indiana. You are fully in the know of that. So why are you telling people this? And I mean, I was really bothered by it, man, until I got to thinking, after a couple days of calming down and running it through my mind, like, okay, well, why would they do that? They hit me to end their investigation. Because anybody calling in after that 60,000 phone tips, now anything on this new direction was deemed, we don't have to investigate it. We know who did it. We don't have to go look at these people for the Delphi murder. We don't have to do that anymore. That's taken care of because we gave them this old information that we had that we was working on. We gave it to people. That is what they thought. He's ages 18 to 40. He's within that age range from what we can tell from the video and the sketch and the people that seen him, because Thomas Bruce does look younger than what he is. Look at his mugshot. Does he look like 52 to you? You know, I don't think he does, man. I think he looks considerably younger in the face. Did. Now he looks like an old man. It just goes show you what like being solitary will do to you in jail. Actually, I enjoyed it a bit. I got to read a lot. I can't say it bothered me much. I'm different than others. But that dude, man, he just flipped out. I mean, look at his last picture. Holy shit, man. Give that dude a razor, please. My God, man. So, anywho. Doug Carter also brought up the shack. And he said, we believe that you at least have some bit of conscience. Some bit of conscience left. Could have been for a reason. Now believe me, I don't think that there was anybody down in St. Louis that wheeled a television in so he could watch the Delphi briefing. I don't think that Thomas Jerome Bruce ever witnessed that firsthand, you know, on television or the like. May have been told about it by his lawyer. His lawyer could have brought it in and showed him or whatnot, because I believe fully that his lawyer's been made aware of the fact of the other crimes that Thomas Jerome Bruce has committed, you know, and that he is being looked into for Delphi, Indiana, Mary Pryor, Ann Pates, Evansdale, possibly down the road, Susan Collins, which is a little weird. You got Susan Collins and then Elizabeth Collins, but I don't think that played in. I think that right there is coincidental. I do. I don't think that there was like he was seeking Collins, which is the first thing that a person that just hops to a theory would think. He's looking for women whose last name is Collins. No, man. And please, man, you know, like move your IQ over, man, to the right. Thank you. Because no, that is not what he was doing. That was a coincidence. Be no different than somebody killing two people whose last name ended with Smith. Shit happens. You know, but like all of them weren't Collins. Yeah, you know what? Glad you brought that up, AJ. Right here. And again, because it fits the narrative that they're sewing together. This was that briefing was the, hang on, let me show that to people. Because it fits the narrative that they were sewing together at the briefing. At this time, is what they said. At this time, we feel that the suspect lived, or worked in the Delphi area. That he's hiding in plain sight, which he is. He's down there, we were told, you know. But why would he say that the killer's in this room? Because it fits that narrative. He's 18 to 40. He lives here local, is what we believe. He could be right here in this very room watching right now. That's how under it he is. You know, he's out there in plain sight. That's what they want people to think. That he's still out there. Because if they was to say it any other way, like, well, we don't think he's here anymore. Well, who moved? You got the FBI in the state of Indiana. Who moved from here that was those ages? There's only got to be a handful. Test DNA. I mean, you see where I'm at. They got to fit it into the narrative that they're creating. The narrative that they're creating and that they want you to believe is this suspect is ages 18 to 40 and lives right there in Delphi. He either lives there right now or lived there or worked right there because he knows this area very well. Now, I'm calling BS on that. I am. I don't think that Thomas Jerome Bruce knew Delphi well. I don't think he may have went into Delphi in the past. I can't say he hadn't went into Delphi. All I had to do is make a left. But I think he just pulled over off the highway to walk that trail and back, kind of get a mental picture of the place. Maybe think, well, one day this might be a good area to come back to if I want to, you know, just find opportunity. I might want to come back here. You know, he scouted it out. He knew where the private property was. He knew where the trail was. But, and you know what? No, I'm going to play this. I want everybody to pay very close attention to what this man says. I'm not going to give his name, but I'm pretty sure that people know who it is or will know who it is. Give me a split second while I pull this up. It's only going to be a second, man. Don't freak out. Trail cops. No. Yeah, here it is. All right. And I'm going to put this on full here. Oh, Mystery Baker's here. Yeah, you know what? I will get right back to that in just a moment, Mystery Baker. If I do not, please remind me, okay? Oh, Nina Armstrong. Holy shit, I haven't seen you in forever. Wow, man, it's a big day to be me. Yeah, okay. All right, let me play this. And like I said, I think you guys will know who it is, but listen carefully.
A little bit beyond, and then a good distance from the bridge, it starts the railroad property. People go out there, but it's still owned by the railroad. Where are you from? A little bit beyond, and then a good distance from the bridge, it starts the railroad property. People go out.
Did you hear what? Did you hear what he said, man? He said, because when you get to the bridge, it starts the railroad property. That means that the crime firstly began on railroad property. Could that not make it federal? They were abducted off of railroad property. And now I think that has since been bought by the trail, by the county, perhaps. But at that time, when the crime occurred, that bridge right there was railroad property. So it makes me wonder if that it could not be a reason why they could roll all of these crimes into one, make it a federal case, try all of them for differing degrees of punishment. Because you know what? On Evansdale, Iowa, the people that live there in Evansdale want the death penalty for the suspect, but they're not a death penalty state. But if it's federal, the federal government can give the death penalty for that, as well as Delphi. So it, you know, on like a couple of those, they could give life. On some, they could give life without parole, and others they could go for death, because Delphi is locked up. They have him 120%, and by every means, they know he was there. Now, let me take this one step further. Because when I was looking into sadist serial killers, one thing that they like to do, okay, two things actually. Oh, wait. Hang on. Let me get back to what Mystery Baker had asked. Why did they refer to the shack? Well, oh man, I'm going to totally forget where I was at before, but it's okay. The Shack was a movie. I tried to watch it. It wasn't my type of movie. I'll put it to you like that. But I think that for more reasons than any, it really went more toward the family and the family dealing with it. Because it does talk about eternity and what happens when a person commits a crime like this. Because in the part that I watched, this guy's little girl was abducted, you know, while he was saving his kids that were in the water, and everybody rushed to the water, and his little girl that was sitting there was then gone. Well, they couldn't find her, and then when they did, the cops had found her inside of a shack where a guy had killed her, and you know, and then the guy is invited, I guess, by God to go back to that shack, and then they're talking to him about eternity, about the way to look at this. And again, I think that may have been directed more toward the family than what it did to the suspect or to us or anything along those lines, because I don't think that law enforcement directly or indirectly or subliminally hands out leads to people. You know, they steer away from that. In fact, I mean, this case right here is like, God, man, it's so conspiratorial between people. It really is. And I think that's why they referenced the shack. I mean, again, when I watched the shack, it wasn't my kind of movie. I mean, I like more learning in a movie. I don't really, you know, care so much on those areas as much as learning. I like more documentary type, but I don't like new documentaries. Man, new documentaries, anything they talk about, they always bring in some guy you don't know. It goes, man, imagine being there at that time. It would be so insane. And now I'm like, why in the fuck is this guy talking to me, man? You know, like backspace, man. Don't do that. If you create something, just tell about what the facts are. Don't have somebody come in there to run their mouth. That's so new age stupid, man. God, sometimes I want to just kick these people right in their sack. Anyway, that's why I feel that he had mentioned this shack. I think it was more for the family. And now I forgot what it was I was going to say. I'm sorry. Hang on. Oh, let me take a quick vape and I'll think about it. Alaska Blue. Hell yeah. All right, man. My fave mod there. Bam. So, let me get back to this. Something that I had brought up for a reason, and I forget again what it was. Oh, you know what? I did want to throw this up. Bam. Incognito Society. Ladies and gentlemen, go watch her channel. Type that into YouTube and go watch her videos. She has a live show, and I love her live shows. I like the way she runs her live shows, man. She is going to be huge. Huge. Big YouTube channel. Go check it out now. You know what? Help her break 1,000. Man, I hope she's over 1,000 already. Are you over 1,000 subs? And I'm hoping that you are. You know, I would like to hope so. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Mars. Right on. Exactly. With that being railroad property, because Miss Katt had asked me about that. And she goes, well, was that railroad property? And I'm like, I'm like, I believe that it was, because oddly enough, the video that I just showed was the very first time that we had ever been out to Monon High Bridge. The person that was speaking was Flannel Shirt Guy, okay? And he was telling us, well, the trail goes down to the bridge, but then it picks up on the railroad property. That's when the railroad property begins. So if you're looking at it like that, and the abduction took place on the south side of that bridge, it would have been on railroad property. I don't know how that means in a federal crime. Believe me, I don't know federal crime that well. I've never committed a federal crime. So, I mean, I don't know how that pertains, but look, what I don't want is this. I don't want like 20 cases, and then they got to start at day one, the first crime committed, the first state, then move to the second one committed there, you know, and go like a year to 2 years between all of them, because at that rate, we would never see him get to Delphi and be tried in a court for a very, very, very long time. Now, if the feds came in and took over all of these cases, multi-state, because they could, then they could throw the punishments on the table to each crime. Delphi is a lock. Delphi is a lock. And again, I'm going back and I'm going to quote Doug Carter. We have all the pieces to the puzzle. That's what he said. We have all the pieces to the puzzle, except who this guy is. Now, he can say that. And again, people say, well, why would he lie? Well, he ain't lying. They know who he is. I'm pretty sure of that. But they can't state who he is yet. So I don't think that he is lying. In fact, I don't think that law enforcement likes to lie. And sometimes they do stretch the truth. Sometimes they say things where they go like, oh, man, I shouldn't have said that. Because they're human, man. They're human beings too, you know. But they're doing what they got to do. And they're doing what they got to do righteously to make sure that that man gets what's coming to him. Can we not all agree on that? I mean, you know, can we not all agree that this guy has to get his day in court for all of this? Because there's four cases that I can point to that as of right now, at the time of my speaking here, are still unsolved. They're waiting for somebody to call in and give them the correct information. I have. But, you know, the thing is that I can point to all 4 of those. And there's more out there that have yet to be found that he has committed. And to me, it seems so simple. Very simple. It's like looking over a casebook to find out who did it. You know, it's like, well, we got to find the person that fits all of these circumstances, all of these facts, all of these subtleties, all of the evidence. You know, everything must point to a person. Well, there would be no way that I could find who it was unless, and I said that right off the bat of the crime, nobody's going to get out there and get money for this. That FBI reward money isn't nobody ever getting that. That reward money isn't really, I mean, it is, but it ain't. I mean, you got to look at the fine print under that $250,000. It says, like, you got to give us information that, 1, gets an indictment against this person, 2, is enough to convict that person, and 3, once he's convicted for it, then we'll give you that money. Now, there is no information that I had concerning Thomas Bruce that law enforcement did not already have before me. They were on that boat long before me. Now, he was turned in by law enforcement in St. Louis. And this harkens back to Amber Green. When Amber Green, when they had a reward out for his arrest, if somebody went and got that man and brought him back alive, they would give you $3,000. This is back in 1868 or 1869. Well, the sheriff of Cass County, Buck Stanley, said, I'm going to find out where this guy is. And he used the mail and how they routed it, how his mom got a hold of him and where they were. Well, she sent it to a relative that lived in, I want to say, New Jersey, who sent it to another relative that like lived in Ohio or Iowa or somewhere like that, Missouri. And then that person sent it on to him. So he used the mail, man, as to how that they were sending letters back and forth without the other person being addressed on it. He found out approximately where they were sending the letters from. He gets on horseback in Indiana, Logansport, Indiana. And he rides his horse all the way out to western Texas, finds them, arrests them, and brings them back to Indiana on horseback. And then says to Carroll County, I would like my reward. And they said, dude, you're law enforcement. We're not giving you no reward. You was doing your job. He was very angry about that. But it is a simple truth. These people are law enforcement. You know, you don't get FBI reward money if you're law enforcement. It's your job. You got the fingerprint. I mean, that don't entitle you to the money. This is my thought. Because he's going to be hit for Evansdale and Delphi. He will. He's hit. He is mega hit. Now, best thing to do with that $250, it's $500,000. $250,000 for Evansdale, $250,000 for Carroll County. Actually, Evansdale's Blackhawk County. But if you split that sum, like $125,000 for the county of Blackhawk and $125,000 for the county of Carroll, and then the other half, the other $125,000 to the families of the victims. You know, that would be the right way to divide that out, because isn't nobody going to get that reward? I said that a long time ago, very long time ago. So I think that that's what's right. And I think that that is what should be done. And it shouldn't be done any different, because that is a lot of money. And it wouldn't matter if it was $125 million. Those little girls will never come home. It is no payment for that. There is no payment large enough that your child's never coming home again. So to me, just to me, I mean, like on those cases, that's how the money should be spent, man. That's where it should go. That is what is right. And besides that, man, I mean, to the county, to the family, the softball part, you know, all of that would be enabled so that their lives still mean something. You know, the memory of them still remains within the heart of those communities. They changed the trail out there in Evansdale to Little Angels Trail. And I know that the trail, Monon High Bridge Trail, is named after another lady, but that is, I believe, why they want to create the softball field, for them. But that to me, it seems right. Now, I contacted Sheriff Chris Swanson of Genesee County, Michigan, concerning 2 cases up there. And he took my tip. I mean, I didn't play that. I didn't play that part because I didn't tell him that it was an interview. But I did want to throw his props out because I think that he knew it was an interview. But I didn't want to release anything that he may not have wanted released. But when I brought those up, well, because and believe me, man, look, one thing I am not is the person that I play on YouTube all the time. I don't really have, I mean, to the degree that if I talk about something, I normally know what I'm talking about. But I mean, like, I don't really have no big ego. I mean, I really don't. And when I got on the phone with him, they says, well, we can have him call you back later. Okay, well, I'll be around. So oddly enough, the phone rang and he's like, yeah, man, Sheriff Swanson, woo. And I'm all like, oh, wow, okay, man, I did not expect a call back. I thought they was just jerking my chain. Well, when I told him that, look, I have a tip for you, but now, mind you, and I said, this is just based on what I know that. That's when he cut in with, hey, wait a minute. You're that guy on YouTube, aren't you? What guy on YouTube? He's like, the guy that solves cases on YouTube. And I'm like, well, you say cases. Yeah, it's you. You're that guy. Dude, I love your channel. Now, when he said that, right here inside my head, man, I quickly went, how did he know that from the name Michael Slope? You see, he went and checked me out before he called. Knew that. He had never watched my channel. Knew that. Everything that I was telling him, I knew that he had already heard from the FBI. Okay, but he said to me, he goes, I am going to take your tip. I'm going to go down there and talk to this Thomas Bruce. I said, I don't think you will, sir. What do you mean I won't? What do you mean? I said, well, you can't just walk down there and talk to him. Don't you remember Daniel Nations? You can't go down there. He's on a different case. Well, he was probably new at being sheriff. I don't know. But anyway, I don't think that he went down and talked to him concerning that while he was down there on first-degree murder. But he will. And being that he will get the suspect. They have DNA and fingerprints in both cases. I believe, although could not be told to me, want to point that out, that both of them match. This DNA matched that DNA. These fingerprints match those fingerprints. Both of those murders happened 12 miles apart in little bitty tiny country towns. Little bitty. Like I'm talking like 400 and some people, 600 and some people. Spots in the road. Brutal murders. With DNA and fingerprints. But yet, nobody to point a finger to. Somebody that had never committed a crime before, never got caught, never been arrested, had no DNA or fingerprints in the system. That was the tip-off to me, right there. That, yes, this is the same guy. He was living in Flint. His hometown is Montrose. He was at the bar in Lennon. He was at the bar in Montrose. He left. He had been drinking, as I've indicated. He drinks before. He's got that intoxication where he's more bold, more brazen, ready to take advantage of an opportunity should it arise. Ow. Anyway, I need my nicotine and fluids. In fact, I might need to go get another soda. I drink a lot. I have a drinking problem. Anyone that expected me to lift that and then it just like pour down my goatee, you watch too much Airplane. So, anyway, and let me get back to Thomas Bruce. Back when I had found all that out, once I found the route, once I've looked into it, and I said he filed bankruptcy, you know, he was unemployed. So then I went back through his unemployment at Evansdale. He was fired from a job he had for 5.5 years, 1 month prior to Evansdale. 1 month prior to Delphi, he loses another job of multiple years. He resigned. He didn't actually lose it. He resigned. He filed bankruptcy and quit. Now, I think that he may have quit, man, for the most part, because he envisioned committing the second crime. He envisioned, okay, I'm going to go do the exact same on the reverse date of. Now, in doing that, a date, man, that is 5 digits long will reverse every 100 years. Within 100 years of today, you will have a date with the exact same day as today. You know, when it's oh, wait, would that be right? No. What? Because we're in the 2000s. Well, we already had that reverse date on that one, but there should be another on the other. But there won't be a year 20. Oh, well. But anyhow. So, you know, once I found out that, you know, this dude drove. He drove, and this is the route that he took. I said, okay, I know now that this guy did not walk from Delphi down there. He drove. Okay. This goes beyond coincidence at this point. Now I'm thinking like, okay, he's fitting all avenues, everything needed, man. The way he walks when he's talking to that cop with his hands inside of his pockets here, looking down, bridge guy. The voice, very similar, very similar. There it is. But it, well, right, but I mean, the way I'm looking at it is like the day, the month, the year. Like 7, 13, 12. And 20 at the end every 100 years. Okay. Well, anyway, back to where I was going again. So once I seen that he had drove, then I thought like, well, okay. That's right. That's where I was going earlier. I'm sorry. See, this is where I like kind of space out because once I start talking about something else, then mine tends to ramble over on that for a minute. But this is the two things that I'd made mention of earlier that sadist serial killers like to do. Sadist serial killers are the ones that like to create pain and humiliation in others because the look on their face, they're crying, they're screaming, exasperation, or, oh my God, I'm going to die, that panic. That's what makes them feel good. That's what creates in them that I'm powerful now. Now I got power, you see. And that's what they like to instill in the victim. Now, sadists like to, one, take photos or video of what they did so that they can relive it at a later time. Now, I believe that Thomas Bruce, while he was in Delphi, I think that he had a digital camera, one that was not Wi-Fi, where it could be GPS, but I think that he had a video camera, or he could have used his phone to take pictures, but I think that he wanted better imagery, you know, okay? And two, another thing that sadist serial killers like to do, pose the bodies. Now, I bring that up for another reason that involved the Delphi briefing. When Doug Carter said the way that you left those girls there that day is not the way they are today. Well, what can we take from that? The way that he left them there to that day. You know, I mean, you got to understand, I mean, where I'm at and not being graphic toward, but understand he felt that they were dead, of course, and they still are. But what does that say? The way you left them there that day, they no longer are like that. Implies that their bodies were posed. They were staged. And that's something else that sadistic killers like to do. They like to stage, pose the bodies. They like to do this. They like to get pictures or videos so that they can relive it. Now, I know that down there in St. Louis, when they arrested him at his trailer in Imperial, they did find things under his trailer that were in boxes. That was his stash place, I believe. Now, I do believe that aside of the fingerprints, it also goes back, dude, we got video, and we're sending that to you. This is something we think you need to see. And I think that there is pictures, video, or something along that lines of that dealt with Delphi. And again, go right back to Doug Carter. Doug Carter, we got all the pieces to the puzzle, aside of who it is. Well, he can say that, man. The investigation ain't over till they go down and talk to him. When they can go down and talk to him and say, hey, look, this is what we got here, and this is how it fits you, and this is what we're looking at. This is what we're looking at for you. Are you going to tell us everything we need to know, or do you want the death penalty? I mean, how do you want to play this? I think that that's going to be the breaking point, because he already knows he's hit for it. He knows full on how badly he's hit for it. He knows what he left behind, and he knows now law enforcement has all of it. So there isn't anything out there that he's unaware of. He knows exactly for what all he's hit for. He can go back to every crime where he left fingerprints, every crime where he left DNA, which was probably the most of them. And he knows that for each and every one of them, he's it. I mean, there is no way around it. You left your fingerprints and DNA. You lived right here, and they got all of that. They can say, well, where were you at that time? And any place that he says he was, they could punch a hole right into that through the alibi. It doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to do an incognito society mode. Are you ready? There's 84 people here. Smart Money says there's only like a handful of thumbs up. It's only a couple. It's not a like fest. But here's what I want. Out of you 84 people, if you agree that Thomas Bruce is the suspect in Delphi, throw up a Y. If you don't believe that he's the suspect, throw up an N. Ready? Do it now. Go ahead, man. That's cool, man. Go ahead. 54 thumbs up. Wow, man, you guys rock so much. We're throwing paws together. You guys rock. I think you guys, man. You guys are the best ever. Okay. You say, why? Why? Okay. Wow. Undecided by Mommy Peanut. An undecided out there. Okay. All right. 58. Ted Barris. Oh, hang on. I got to scroll back up to what Ted Barris said here. Okay. Hey, Ted. Very cool. Just reach me on Facebook and we'll get that done, because I had wondered what happened. Because I do want to talk to Ted Barris concerning HPD 77. That is a very important video that I've been in the process of making for a long while now. So, oh yeah, fuck Facebook. I don't like them. All right, man, that's very cool, man. Thanks, Ted. And you got my phone number? If not, I'll send it to you on Facebook. Oh, no. Twilight Living says no. Okay, cool. All right. Did get a no in there. 60 thumbs up, man. God, look at you guys, man. Shit. My heart feels so warm and fuzzy. Yeah, I feel like the true king of Uganda suddenly. Truth and Justice channel. Do I know you? Oh man, really? Cheers, Ted. Man, I'm glad you stopped by, buddy. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. I thought so. Okay, man. Thanks for being here, man. I thought yours was Delphi Justice or something like that, man. I see. I don't get out enough. Okay. Well, thanks for being here, Ange, man. I appreciate the shit out of it, man. Okay. And Waiter was playing euchre, man. You know what? I play euchre almost every day on Night Inc. That's felt like this. Just go to Night Inc. Oh, I didn't even. Okay. Just go to Night Inc., man. Put in Night Inc. euchre on Google, man. It'll take you right there. Go into the tournament lounge. Look for me, Blood Moon. Well, I was under Wolf's name, but this might really piss me off, man. I played on there for 4 years, man. I had the ticket to play in the Champion of Champions tournament for the Grand Tournament Euchre Champion of Earth. My partner turned their back on me, man. Played it with somebody else. I changed my name and I blocked them out of my life. That's how the king of Uganda rolls. Oh, you don't need to download it. I mean, unless you're on a phone or something. Just go to Night Inc., man. They got the game room. Just go down and all you got to do is just fill out the form information, like make a name, like Waiter, or, you know, however you want to play. Really easy to do. Only takes a couple minutes. Then just go in and play. And I'm there every day when I sit down to play a euchre tournament, man. I'm going to be there for an hour to win that trophy, people. So if you're good at playing euchre and you know what euchre is, meet me there. Usually they're around 2 daily. Okay, so, and again, now, undecided, because there are people out there that are undecided. There are many. It's not just one. There are many people out there. And normally, when I look at that, if a person is undecided, it's because, generally speaking, like most, not me, just pointing that out, but not me, I don't go to other people's channels. I don't look into other people's theories. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care. Okay? I don't. It would be one thing if they had something and people were stating it, and I'm like, well, hey, that fits. You know, that fits, though. Better go see what that means. But once I had it hammered down, man, where I said, okay, now on December 9th of 2018, I said, now I can say that I do believe that Thomas Jerome Bruce is Bridge Guy, that he is the Delphi suspect. Shortly thereafter, I said, and Evansdale, because I'd found the route. I knew he drove. I knew it was the reverse date. I knew that they were identical crimes on a reverse date. So, you know, after a minute, then I'm like, okay, man, now I'm looking at it as more than similarity. I think that there is the MO, the identical process involved, the drink, you know, everything was put together at that time where I said, this is our guy. You know, yeah, there's people out there undecided, but I think there are a lot of people that are undecided have heard a million theories. 1,000,001. Now, you can go from my channel to somebody else's channel and hear all about LaFont, Kurtz, Charles Eldridge. There was another guy that got killed by cops, and people said he did it, and they can't get his DNA. And I'm all like, you watch too much television, not enough reality for you in a day. But there are other people that people can point to. There are people out there that are pointing at people that are totally innocent, but what they are doing is they're saying, well, let's look at it like this, and could this not have happened? And people go, you're damn right that could have happened. It's him. It is. I'm not real. Christine, man. Thank you kindly. Thank you very much. You know what? Normally I send people an email, but without your email, since you put it on the super chat, I thank you very much for supporting my channel. YouTube don't pay anymore, so like all donations, honestly, do go to upgrade the channel, which I used to do with my YouTube money until YouTube turned into like human right violators, taking people's money and their creations and saying, "Oh, you ain't got free speech here." Well, you can't do that here. Well, guess what? We're going to put CNN above you. We're not going to monetize anything you do. Hell, man, I once made a video. I made $2,700 off of one video. One video. Had 600 and some thousand views within like a week, man. That made some money, people. That made big money. That was back in the day. That was in 2013 or 14. Like 6 years ago, man, back when YouTube still paid big. They don't. In fact, as soon as this video is uploaded, it won't be monetized. I have to go in and monetize it. So all the views I got now, they don't even count. Then they'll go, give us a week, maybe, and then by the time that they do go, oh yeah, we'll monetize it. All the views are happened. I don't get paid for them. Anything after that, what am I going to make? 10 cents off this video? Ain't even going to happen like that. They know. They know exactly how to kick you in the balls. But it's people like you, Christine, that really rock. So thank you from the hearts of me and Wolf, man, for supporting my channel and you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Well, and again, that is what I'm trying to put out there, Leon, is just that when you look at everything that has been stated by law enforcement concerning the suspect, and you look into everything that I've looked into concerning Thomas Bruce, and because of Daniel Nations, that they cannot go to another state and talk to somebody that's in there on a felony charge, period, because they're being represented by an attorney that's going to say, no, not while he's under my representation, you don't. Later, you can wait till it's over. Then you can, but not while he's under me. You're not going to. So they can't go down and talk to him. That's just the lowdown. And if it was one thing that I learned through all of this, when they went out to talk to Daniel Nations, I thought they was going to come back and say, yeah, he's guilty or he's cleared. But when they came back and said we can neither include nor exclude him as being the suspect at this time, I thought, we knew that when you left. And so that seemed really weird until I heard it from Daniel Nations. Well, what did they say to you when they were out there? Well, they didn't. My public defender stopped him at the door without consulting me. He said, you ain't talking to him. And I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to give him my DNA. Oh crap. I see. And now, that he's down there on first-degree murder facing life behind bars without parole, they cannot go talk to him. That guy's under like intense, he's like on suicide watch 24/7 in the round room. They don't even give him a razor to shave with. I mean, that guy is under the strictest of watch, man. They're not going to go down and talk to him right now. When his case ends, oddly enough, it begins on October. Let me back this up. Let me go back to the date of Evansdale, Friday the 13th. The very reason that Friday the 13th is a bad day, that's why under superstition it's a bad day, is for this reason. I forget the year. Please forgive me for that. But going back in time, a long time ago, King Philip, on the date of October, Friday the 13th, issued that all Knights Templar were to be arrested, all their possessions confiscated, all of their money and fortune and all this was to be brought to the king, on Friday the 13th. Now, this is the Masons, and I'll just be very blatant with you. The Masons pretty much own everything. religion, government, yeah, woo-whoop-de-woo. They put other Masons in positions of power. Never anybody that's outside of a Mason. You got to be a Mason to get that power. That was realized long ago by English police, the Bobbies, and they said, if you want to get an advancement while being a policeman, you got to be a Mason. Oh, well, I'm going to go become a Mason. Right on. Now you can be the chief of police or whatever it is in England. I ain't that familiar with English law. But that's why they have the little checker pattern across the bobby hat, because they are Masonic. The government, Masonic, man. Religions, Masonic, bro. It's all Masonic, because they put people into those positions of power so that they can put other Masons into position of power. That way they make sure all the power on earth is conducted by Masons. That's the way it works. You want to be sheriff, got to be a Mason. They will fix that vote, but you ain't going to win, because they're not going to have somebody in there that isn't a Mason telling a Mason what to do. They don't play like that. You got to be in a position of being a Mason to get any edge and power. Now, on Friday, August the 13th is when that happened. That was the date. Friday, or October the 13th. Now, I want someone to tell me, somebody that's been following along, somebody that knows the goods on this. What date does Thomas Bruce, his jury trial, and what date does that begin? Anybody got a guesstimate? Just throw it up in the comments. Oh, nobody's got a guess, bro. 87 people, and that one up there guessing. There it is. Guess what, man? If I did not already dedicate this show to Don Sterling, it would be you, because Christine Burroughs, you are correct. On October the 13th, the identical date that the whole of the superstition behind Friday the 13th began, that's the date that his jury trial begins. And it makes me wonder, did the Masons give him the boot for what he had done? That way, when he goes in, he couldn't get a Mason on his jury that would clear him? Maybe. It's hard to say, man. But it adds up. It does. I mean, if I was a Mason and somebody had went and did that, look, I could not look upon that person as a brethren. You see where I'm at? I could not play part to that. I would say, look, I don't want to be a Mason if that guy's going to be here. You see where I'm at? So I do believe that they may had possibly, and I'm not a Mason, so I don't know, but they could have gave him the boot. Could have made sure he had no way out. But yes, absolutely. October 13th is when it begins. Look up the superstition behind Friday the 13th. You'll see the date right there. Friday, October the 13th. Call it a quinky dink, just like the reversible dates. Call it a coincidence that he was looked like, dressed like, man, had the fingerprint up, had never broken the law, had no DNA or fingerprint in a database. It's just all a big coincidence. It's just daydreaming by me. If it was edited, it'd be on the green screen behind me, a great big pile coming right out the backside of the old cattle. Because it is what it is. And that's what I bring to you. That's why I'm telling you, man. Oh, hey, man, I just seen Bantry. There's Bantry. Oh, well, I don't know any secret Mason stuff. Man, if I knew secret Mason stuff, man, I wouldn't even be talking about it. I would be like, oh, that stuff I probably shouldn't even be talking about. Because if I knew, well, I wouldn't be talking about it. Just like if I knew everything that law enforcement knew, I damn sure would not be talking about that. I wouldn't be talking about anything that was in their investigation. But, and again, man, if I was editing right there, there'd be a nice big butt behind me. It'd be the cutest little butt you ever did see. I must picture Barbara Streisand's butt. That would be a nice butt. or at least in the 1970s, it would have been a perfect little bug. But aside to the point for now. Let's see. Yeah, you know, I am. People say a lot, Christine, and I don't really know the. Whoa, did he? What up, Dave? The drummer, Dave, one of the best drummers ever. He's such a good drummer that a friend of mine who's played guitar since he was 8, same as me, could not play alongside of him. He said, dude, that's too much. Oh, no. He told me just the other night when I asked him, I says, well, why couldn't you play with Dave? He's like, dude, that 16 beat, couldn't keep up, man. Couldn't play it. All right, so I got 20 minutes, and you know what? Until I can think of anything further to go on about, but I kind of cleared quite a bit out there. Next week, I will have video, and then that way I can discuss what I have on video in comparisons of walk, speech, his jobs, his past residence, the time of the murders, the MO involved, what was done to the girls, the fact that fingerprints and DNA were left behind. Now, all of this matches right back to Delphi. And again, so does the route. So does all of it. Everything goes back to TV. And if I had a question for you two, not just you, you know, don't take it like I'm pointing at you specifically out there, but just to people in general, it would be, but what is your holdup on Thomas Bruce? I mean, I've been as clear as day, as right as rain. I have not given out anything that was BS, very little in theory. But that theory was educated theory based upon what I know to be true. I mean, I've very much not speculated on much. What I have given was fact, evidence, circumstance that all relates back to. What is the holdup on people out there and Thomas Bruce? Because honestly, it's like people online will say, well, I don't think it's him. But now, if they was in a room with me and I sit down and explained it to them, they'd go, well, no, that makes sense, though. Well, that does. I mean, yeah, but, and most of the time, most people will say the identical same thing, which goes back to that question that I dislike more than anything else. Why would they do that? Michael, why would they lie? It's law enforcement. Law enforcement ain't going to lie to us. They're not going to put the family through that. They wouldn't lie. If the DNA matched, they would tell us. They'd tell us it matched. Not if they hadn't spoken to him. If they haven't spoken to him, their investigation is not over. They cannot confront him with this to get evidence, to get the details, to coerce him into a confession. They can't do that. They're not going to hand that out this time and then give him 2 years to set and work a defense on it. They're not going to do that. They can't file charges. He could just say, make it a quick and speedy trial. Do it now. You got 60 days. You know, we can't get you here in 60 days. I win. Thank you. Bye-bye. Nobody wants that. But everybody stands to the fact of law enforcement wouldn't lie. Okay? One, I never said they lied. I never said they lied. I just said they handed out things that they knew beforehand that now they knew were untrue. What they did was end the investigation into it. They didn't need any more telephone tips. Anybody calling up on this new direction, we don't have to go investigate it. We already know who did it. Now we're not going to like have it up here at like 200,000 calls, you know, that we got to go investigate. It's going to stop where it's at. We're going to continue along our lines, going talking to a few people, play the game. When it was Daniel Nations, they had his DNA already. They had his fingerprints already. They knew it wasn't him. Before they went out to talk to him, They knew it was not Daniel Nations. Well, then why did they go out there, Mr. Katt? Tell us that. Well, because the news had already pointed to him as a person of interest. What do you do when you have a person of interest in a case like this? You got to go investigate it. You got to make it look good to the public. We're out there talking to the guy. We're looking for answers, just like you want us to do. And that's why. Because they exaggerate things a little bit. They make things bigger than what they are or may be. They make other things seem smaller so you don't question further upon them. But they got to do this to secure their case. And that is what it is. That's what it's about. Securing the case. Oh, yeah, bullshit, Dave. Liar. He says that same shit every year, man. Every year. Every year. You know who won't be seeing his ass come July? This king right here. I found out years ago he's a liar. He just lies. He says things and don't follow through. So, if you have a holdup, and there was the one, Eternal something, I forget the name off the top of my head, and I'm sorry about that. But if you was to sit down and look at it, and it was explained to you, I think that you would agree. I do. I think that most everybody would be in an agreement that Thomas Bruce is the only suspect. He is the only person of interest that fits all the criteria. Of all the circumstances that are in this case, almost like 77-year-old, the Catholic supply store, Evansdale, Delphi, Indiana, all midday crimes, all done with brazenness, all done with the same MO of brutality, all done. And you know what? That was another thing that I did here in the briefing, because Doug Carter did say brutally murdered. And I mean, that just stands on its own there. I mean, when they say brutally murdered, you know, I mean, nobody knows the specifics, and that's good. But we do understand that it was not your average every day. I mean, like if somebody walked up and shot somebody in the head, I mean, that wouldn't be brutal if you understand the concept I'm using. So we do know that there was a sense in Delphi of a brutal crime, of a brutal murder, maybe two of them, so to speak. So again, it is part of what this man does. And if you look at the statistics on how many people actually become a sadist serial killer, it is 1 in millions. 1 in millions that actually go on to become a serial sadist killer. You're looking at one. I've already stated, like, you know, the person that did Delphi was one. One that did Evansdale, I assume was. Catholic supply store, we know they were. Why did he shoot her in the head? To get the reaction out of the other two. To see their reaction to his power. And then go and do to them. You know, to commit the sexual offenses. This is a evil man. Very evil. In fact, so evil, I question his letter to the editor. Was it his real thoughts? Or was it his reverse thoughts? Maybe he did like seeing others die for heinous crimes. Maybe he wasn't against abortion. I mean, think about it. Why would he be for abortion? He's certainly for killing outright young children. What would put him into his mind that babies should live? No. See, I kind of deny that, man. And it's the reverse date. It's the other 13s involved. I think that this guy was possibly, and I just say possibly, this is complete, theory. But at the same time, when he was a pastor, was he really on the side of any biblical God? I mean, was he working that angle? Or was he working a dark angle? Because if you look at sacrifice, of which I believe maybe, possibly, could be in Evansdale and Delphi, you know, where one would be the virgin sacrifice, while the other would be the intended victim. You know, the one that you would see the reaction on their face when you did such to the other, you know, when you sacrifice them. Maybe, because if you look up like virgin sacrifice or child sacrifice, why do people sacrifice virgins or children? It's to appease a deity. Well, what deity would you go and do that for? Not a Christian God. I mean, if you're looking at any deity that would be happy with you doing that, it's a very dark entity. Now, why would he be in a church? Because he's posing as the good guy. Same one everybody knew. Thomas Bruce, he's a great guy. He's very friendly, very helpful, very loving, compassionate. Great guy, man. Totally. Known him for a long time. Great dude. But he's not. You see, deep down, he really is not that dude. Quite contraire, mon frere. He's quite the opposite deep inside. And when those demons unleash, when opportunity arises, he's a very evil man. He does what other people could not even think of. You know, nobody would ever think to go do something like that. For what reason? Why would somebody go do that to an innocent child? You see where the darkness lies there. And I believe that from probably an early age, he was playing the opposite of who he really was inside. And he was damn good at it, because everybody believed that he was that other guy. His neighbors, his friends, his family, everybody believed that he was this other guy. But that's why he went away. That's why he went to a safe place like Evansdale, a place where people didn't know him, Delphi, where nobody knew his face or name, a place where there he was a stranger. People didn't know him, you know? So, anywho, I'm going to wrap this up at 8. And I am going to take any questions. If anybody has any, throw them up. I will be happy to answer. Bam. Did you? No. Did you? Okay. Well, hang on a second. One quick second. I got to get over there, man, to do that. I got to go to YouTube. Give me a quick second, and maybe I can give you a wrench. We'll see. Oh, you know what? While there, on that, hold on a second. Oh, it's locked up. There we go. There we are. Okay. This is my email right here. If you would like to reach me concerning the Delphi case, the Evansdale case, or any other case, please reach me there. Give me any information that you may have on a different case, or any questions or concerns that you may have on the Delphi case. I will reach back. Anybody that does reach me, it's what I do. You could reach me via my telephone, but that's just tickering across the bottom. But this is the telephone number. You can reach me there as well when I have it turned on. Most of the time, kind of don't. But you can get a hold of me again at this email address that I check all the time. All right, now let me slide back over here and go make him a moderator. You know, my computer goes slow until I'm like live streaming. Then it just wants to be a dick. Never cool with that. Anyway, I do highly recommend to everyone to go check out Incognito's channel. Incognito Society. Her channel rocks. What now? No, man, that is not what I wanted at all. Hang on.
We're proud people. And you guys need to get a will. Please do for me.
God, man, I got a leftist commercial on my channel. That's just not cool. My channel, please. Thank you. What the hell? Work with me, PC. You know, just work with me, please. I'm a woman. I half-heartedly believe you. People on YouTube lie. People on YouTube lie every day. See, I'm not on here to lie. I want you to know that. All right. Okay, that's still not my channel. Okay, when you click on something that says your channel, it's supposed to take you to your channel, not to YouTube. God, man, I went everywhere except where I wanted to go. There it is. Please be my channel this time around. Okay, if memory serves, here we are. All right. Throw your name up there in chat, and I will try to fix the moderatorship for you. All right, 13. Yes, Katt. You fucking rock so damn much, man. I'm not going to be happy till he gets to 1 million, though. I won't be. When he gives me 1 million thumbs down, then I'll be like, wow, that guy paid my little bear right to college. Well, now it's going to take forever to begin. Oh, there we go. All right, Stuff Morales. Throw your name up there in chat, and I will try to. One second, and all right, now you're a moderator. Stuff. Now you can moderate. Okay, man. Thanks for hanging on. Thanks for hanging out with me, man. All right, let me at least try to get back into a groove here. I'm not sure where I was. Wanted to end it at 8, but if there are any questions, man, just throw them up. Throw them up now, because now my eyes are on the screen. You go, Stuff. And Dawn Sterling, I don't know where she went. Or Barbara Spicer. God, man, so many people. 65. The King's popularity wanes. Yeah. Okay, Kurtz. I mean, my issue with Kurtz was this. He was in Carroll County Jail. It is a state crime. I don't think that they would have had any issue of walking in there and talking to him. In fact, if he had a public defender, I would assume on murder charges that he did have a public defender. It was Manahan. And if it's Manahan, I mean, like, look, man, Manahan, being a public defender, usually hands you a plea bargain and goes, well, you might want to look it over. But would he have taught the state, the FBI, and so forth? No, I think that would have made news. And I think that they could have went in and talked to him at about any time of their choosing concerning a crime that occurred in the same county as what that was. Now, he was arrested way over a year ago. Shit, man, you're talking like a year and a couple months ago, like 14 months ago. Who is? Cody L. Spears. Okay. Well, apparently he could pay. Right on. But I still don't think that would have stopped the FBI or anybody from really talking to him. That's me. And Dan, hey, I'm glad you knew that, man. You know? Thank you. And Charles Esther, or Eldridge, and I mean, firstly, blue eyes. The lady that did speak to the suspect for a couple minutes said, I do not know what his eye color was exactly, but I know they weren't blue. He did not have blue eyes. Charles Eldridge had blue eyes. It's the criteria. One, the person could never have committed a crime before. So if you find them on my case, game over. They didn't do it. Two, blue eyes, didn't do it. You know, there's just certain things that got to fit the criteria, the facts, the evidence, and so forth in this to be the right person of interest. Now, I looked at Daniel Nations. Daniel Nations fit. However, there was things that were unknown at that time. And, certainly as a person of interest goes, I think that Daniel Nations was top notch. All of his crimes escalated, further and further and further to where he's pulling his pants down in front of a woman and her daughter that were at a trail saying, hey, you guys want to come over here? It's like, what kind of sick shit is that, But they kept escalating like that. He had PTSD from being in Iraq, which is kind of like playing a video game. It ain't like he's seen stuff like in Vietnam and shit, So, kind of a weak character, kind of a no good doer. His family, his upbringing was not cool, and I understand that, and I know how that can cause things to occur later. But the simple fact is, he didn't do it. I was on the phone with him. I was talking to him verbally and in letters. He wasn't, but actually, up to the first year press conference, we did hold out that he could be a more than a person of interest, but we did have no way to place him in Delphi. I said, man, that's kind of weird. I mean, because he did not hitchhike up here, and it's very clear he didn't have the money to get here. So how could he have got here and then got out of here without anybody seeing it? Aside of those two people, how could he have done that? Well, on that we was stuck, but we did say, well, the sketch looks kind of like him. It does. His crimes escalate if he did go there, because he would go to trails to perpetrate public masturbation and being creepy with women. Okay, so he's a good person of interest. We held out. Maybe he is. We was waiting for him to come back with news. But it did not apply. At the first year press conference, Doug Carter says, we went out to Colorado and we had a long talk with Daniel Nations. I said, well, that's just total bullshit. I know better, but go on. And right now, we're not concerned about Daniel Nations. Well, that's because they extradited him back 1 week before the first year press conference and talked to him. Cleared him. So I'm like, okay, he's cleared. But, we could tell when they were setting up for it that they wasn't going to be announcing anything. They had all the power people there, but it didn't look like they were setting up for an announcement of a suspect. So anyway, after the first year, though, we learned that, hey, this guy had never supposedly had been caught committing a crime before. And I'm like, good Lord. If they live locally and they had never committed a crime, well, the odds that I know them is very light. Because, when you go to jail in Carroll County, you meet all the local, crime doers, man. I mean, you've been there a couple times. You pretty much played cards with them about 10 hours apiece. So there were other people. LaFont, I was never on that. I thought like, oh geez, man, you know, you gotta. There's other people just doing videos on that. You can go check their shit out. I don't advise it personally, but if you want to, you know what? Wolf is. Hang on. Oh wait, no, he ain't. Oh, he's in his bed. He's to my front left up there. He's down on his bed on the ground. I got a couple pillows and his blanket laid out for him. He's been having a really rough week. He really has. I mean, physically, I think he feels a lot better than what he did, but I don't know how to put it. He had some, an injury of sorts, but nothing really bad, and something I can hope he can get right to is my hope. So, but anyway, that's, he's an old man and he still gets around well. I love that about him. Yeah, I will. I hug him all the time, man. I just walk up and hug him when he's sleeping. He's all like, and I'm saying, oh, sorry, dude. You just, look like you need a hug, It's the way I am with my puppy. It's the way everybody should be with their dogs. I went to this guy's house, man. Go back like so many nights ago. Guy had a big mastiff, man. Big mastiff. Cool as shit, man. Just cool as all get out, man. Big. I mean, I'm talking about a bear-sized dog. Actually bigger than a bear. I'm like, shit, man. You look at a black bear, man, this was bigger than a black bear. That was a dog in like 5'8" or more. Huge. Badass dog. Wait. What was the question, Christine? Did I miss the question? Oh, okay. Oh, very cool. I hope that you are speaking of Incognito. Hope you subscribed, rung the bell, so you get notifications when she's live. I'm there, or I try to be. Yeah. Man, mastiffs. You know what? I've seen a couple mastiffs, man, in my day. And this one, I was hitchhiking. Actually, I was going out to Oregon from Indiana. And this truck driver picked me up in Michigan, where I really got off route. And he had to stop in Chicago, where he lived. He was a truck driver. He says, well, my wife drives the truck, because we've been talking for hours. He goes, so you're welcome to spend the night, man, eat some dinner. And then she's heading up there in Minneapolis tomorrow, can give you a lift. And I'm all like, fuck yeah, So anyway, we get to his house, man, get out. He's got this huge garage, man, you can back a semi into, like two of them. And this dog comes walking out, 205-pound mastiff. I was like, whoa. I'd never seen a dog that size. I'm like, geez, dude. He goes, yeah. He goes, I weigh 200 pounds, and he outweighs me by 5 pounds. It's a big boy. Is he like, aggressive? He goes, well, don't make sudden moves at him or nothing, but he's all right. Okay, cool, man. Now it's over there just like, damn, dude. My God. Your head weighs as much as me. That's a mastiff. That's a big dog. That is a big dog. 205 pounds of dog. I think wolf weight soaking wet 20 pounds. Man, can that dog pull off some facts, man. He's really good at it. Yeah, man, I do too. I think mastiffs are cool. I think they're very good dogs. I love all dogs. I do, man. There isn't too much of a dog. People don't like Chihuahuas because they bark and everything. I says, you know what? Chihuahuas may, but here's the thing. If you raise a Chihuahua, that dog will die for you. They have loyalty. If something comes near you, they are going to attack it. They think they're a wolf. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. A Chihuahua does not give a rat's ass. He will go after you. They might be a one-person dog, but they love that person. They will die for that person. That is the loyalty that I love in dogs. I do. All right. Well, crap. See, and I went over. I actually went over. 63 people here. Tell you what, man. Give me 80 thumbs up. and I'm out here. Need 80 though. I need 80. So come on, man. Give me some 80 thumbs up. And again, if you got any questions, and I know that there's people out there with questions, throw them up over here where I can get to them. You know, that way I can go kick Ryan's ass in some chest and get on with my night. Not that I don't love talking to you guys. I look forward to Tuesday. I do. And next week, man, it's all laid out, man. Next week's show, you don't want to miss it. Be here at Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. There it is. I hit the go button at 6 p.m. If you're waiting for a notification, you'll be waiting until the next week because it ain't going to happen. Yeah, small dogs, man. They think they're huge. They do. They do, man. My mom had a Yorkie. Yeah. You know, I think his name was Yorkie for some reason. Oh, it hit 80? Did it? Holy crap, man. I don't even know what it was at. It was at 71 a little while ago. I'm hoping it was at 80 already, but man, how cool would that be? You know, it only takes a second on my invisible watch, man, just to go down there, click like, and go, yeah, I did it, man. Thanks. You're the best. All right. Well, I'll tell you all what. We'll do it like this. I appreciate every single person out there that viewed this video. I hope tonight maybe that some people was led on a little bit more than what they were beforehand concerning Thomas Bruce. Can't swear to it, but I do my best to lay it out there so people can, hear it and go, well, it certainly makes good sense what he's saying. Hope I did that. Hope I was that dude. And all moderators, I have not seen Sue in a while. Incognito, man, I ain't seen the other one in a long while. And Stuff Morales, Alaska Blue, man, just like my favorite mod, I appreciate everybody that viewed, all my mods, all donators, man. Every single one of you guys rock. I guess with that, man, I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Be on the standby. In fact, hopefully I'll have a video out before that. Peace. Oh, and I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend, man. It was fantastic. We opened up the pool. It's a good time. Anyway, man, I'll see you next week.